So I'm pleased to be joined with Captain Gregory Lutz, and you are a chaplain from 17 Wing Winnipeg. And, with Remembrance Day coming up, we want to get kind of your perspective on just how you can honor this day, how you can commemorate this day, and, from your perspective, what that looks like. So being a part of the armed forces, can you just share maybe the significance of the day being from the forces?
I think the best way I could probably describe it is one of my former units was the Essex and Kent Scottish. They were based out of Windsor, Ontario. They were one of the units back in early in the war where they did the Dieppe raid. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but I remember that there was I think 90% of the unit did not return that day after that raid. It was one of the biggest losses in World War II. And I remember going back there in Remembrance Day in 2017 and standing on the beach where a majority of that unit didn't come home. And I remember thinking, like, it was overwhelming because all those brave soldiers that gave their lives on that beach so that they could, the Allies could get a stronghold later in the war and over in Normandy and Juno Beach and so forth. And it was overwhelming because these people gave their lives, they left their families, they left their spouses behind so that we can be sitting here having this conversation. And I think as that generation starts to fade, I think it's important for us to remember that, not to forget. And I think even more so now, in our poem, like we will not forget them. We will remember. It's even more important because there's generations coming up now. We're almost talking, 80, almost 90 years ago, and it can't, this generation can't fathom that because it's so far in the past that it's hard to remember that. We do have the conflicts like Korea and Afghanistan and some of the conflicts we're having right now. And I've been part of especially the Afghanistan campaign where I did a lot of knocking on families' doors and telling their mothers that their child was not coming home, and it's overwhelming. It still weighs on my heart to this day, and I remember those faces, and I wake up in the night and remember, I remember those times fondly and vividly where. I remember I told a mother once that their daughter was not coming home, and her collapsing on the floor, and just the sacrifices that our troops face so that we can go and have a cup of coffee, without repercussions. We can have freedom of religion in our country and not repercussions of what we say or do. And I think that's important to remember that because I think without knowing that what the price of that freedom was, we take it for granted.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably easy, like, it's hard to say, but it's easy to take it for granted. We have this one day of a year, but this isn't just a one-day thing. This is people's lives that they are literally sacrificing, like you said, that they are fighting and that they are
Absolutely.
giving the freedom that we can take for granted. So, that we can honor them and we can commemorate it. Like, how can we do that practically?
I think honoring your vets. I The one thing I always remember and I like to tell people is that yeah, there's a lot of vets that did not come home in the past conflicts and war, but a lot of did and brought the war with them home, meaning that they're still struggling with the emotional impacts, their family life, and all these things because the horrors and the tragedies that they went through. I think if you see a vet or a soldier on the street, thank them for what they do. I mean, what I do in this role as a chaplain is fairly supportive, of those people that go out and they put their lives on the line. I work in a squadron where they go out and they look for people that are lost and they do things, to help others. And everyone on this base is doing a fantastic job of supporting our city, our province, our nation. That I don't think people realize that, what exactly our troops go through on a daily basis and what they give up so that they can so that we can do what we do freely.
Absolutely. And you just mentioning your role as the chaplain, so you get to play that supportive role to them as well. So, what does that look like for you and kind of the importance that you carry in supporting them?
Well, it takes different functions, I think, depending on the circumstances. But majority of it is our role is to provide spiritual care, and I think a lot of troops they're struggling with that, especially when they're facing things that they normally wouldn't. Um, so we're there to walk them through their faith, their faith journey, their spiritual journey, and that means maybe talking about their faith or talking what their spiritual health is or so forth. And that's working with other groups on the team. We have a great support system for mental health, for physical health. We all work together here to work on that. Our role is to support the people. That's supporting our members here, supporting their families, and being advisors to the chain of command to let them know our troops are struggling or they're doing well, or here's some things that we could really help our troops. And luckily, I think we do have the respect of our chain here on the base, which is awesome because we have a great chain of command here and great leadership.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for what you do and all the troops just to, yeah, fighting for the freedoms, giving us the freedom that we have every single day here in Winnipeg and Manitoba and Canada. And thank you for taking time to chat with me today. And yeah, just really kind of hammer in that reminder of that it's not just a one day thing. This is people's lives that they are sacrificing every single day. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.